Yeah. If I could, it's up in the air right now, Rich,
Good. All right, everybody. Welcome to the meeting for December 22nd, 2025. Can we all just please rise for the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let it be shown that Linda Bruno and Stephen Donnelly are not here today, so it's just the three of us. Some public announcements. Town offices will have a half-day schedule on Christmas Eve on the 24th, and the town offices will be closed the 25th and the 26th for Christmas. So those are the only announcements I have. Did everybody receive the town board meeting minutes that was provided for our meeting on the 11th? Yeah. Yep. Okay. I make a motion to approve the town board meeting minutes for December 11th, 2025.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hoteling. Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Let's get to the reports. Again, Mr. Donnelly is sick. He's not here, so I'll read the supervisor's report, if that's okay with everybody. For general, balance forward, $278,834.47. Receipts, $149,311.65. Disbursements, $207,613.76, with a balance of $220,532.36. Consolidated, balance forward, $662.41. Receipts, 3 cents. Disbursements, nothing, and balance is $662.44. Part town, balance forward, $42,534.84. Receipts, $1,897.25. Disbursements, $32,185.27, and balance of $12,246.82. Highway part town, balance forward, $100,814.81. Receipts, $246.12. Disbursements, $68,696.66, with a balance of $32,364.27. Highway townwide, $31,665.83. Receipts, 27 cents. Disbursements, $610.61, and balance of $31,055.49. Sewer, $912.05. Receipts, $87,804.76. Disbursements, $68,382.58. And then the balance of $20,334.23. Trust and agency, balance forward is $23,342.46. Receipts, $235,370.37. Disbursements, $238,013.15. And then the balance of $20,699.68. Nothing for police forfeitures. We go to capital projects. Balance forward, $254,267.29. Receipts, $15,015.36. Disbursements, $74,249.68, with a balance of $195,032.97. Section 8 HUD, $11,190.57. Receipts, $73,579.46. Disbursements, $68,060.05, with a balance of $16,709.98, for a total reconciled balances of $549,638.24. For the savings accounts, we have Grove Cemetery with $928.70, Queens Hollow Cemetery with $546.80, and then the Alcove Cemetery has $320.97. For collateral coverage, the Bank of Greene County and the National Bank of Coxsackie both are FDIC covered for $250,000. and collateralized of $445,957.25. If you just take a look at the NICLAS monthly activity, the one thing, if you look down, gentlemen, where it says dividends year to date, all the way at the bottom, that $222,238.89. Pretty much that's what we earned so far since we started. And I talked to Regina today, and she says, we're still waiting for this past month, but we should be about $20,000 per month, even though I think interest rates have gone down for NICLAS to about 3.5% now. Which is good and bad. I see it as we're not making as much on interest, but if we have to take out a loan, let's say for the town offices with the police and the court, maybe a lower interest rate would equal that out a little bit. Do you want me to go through this, or is just looking at it okay?
No, I just see that there's a $30,000 withdrawal for the sewer. You probably don't have the answer to
I
that,
don't have. I can get back to you tomorrow. I would assume it's a cross-level something with the sewer, but I can get back.
And no contributions this month.
Correct. No contributions. So I'll check on that for tomorrow and send an email out. And anything else that you guys see, feel free to reach out to myself or Regina or Steven, and we can.
And just to confirm, we have $5,525,312.26 in NICLAS total.
That's correct. Yep, according to what the statement says.
As of 11:30.
As of 11:30.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. I make a motion to accept the supervisor's report for November of 2025.
Second it.
Okay, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes. And we're down to the department reports. So, Ms. McHugh.
Yep. Town clerk report for November 2025. In the A fund, we handed over to the supervisor a total of $2,292.18. In the B fund, we handed over $2,382.50. In SS, it was $44,035 for a total local shares remitted of $48,675.03. New York State Agriculture and Markets received $20. New York State Department of Health received $67.50. New York State Environmental Conservation received $465.02 for a total non-local revenue of $552.52. Your total state, county, and local revenues for November were $49,227.55.
I'll make a motion to accept the November 25 town clerk's report as submitted.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mike, could I ask a question? Who made the motion for the supervisor's report?
I did.
Can you do that? That's your own report. You can accept it.
Yeah, I think so.
Donnelly does it almost every month.
He does do it every month.
He's chairing the meeting and deputy supervisor.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
No problem. Okay. Chief, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, my board. So the Town of Freeman's Police Department for November 2025, we answered 964 calls for service throughout the town, resulting in 54 criminal arrests. We also effected 479 traffic stops and issued 83 traffic tickets. There was one DWI arrest and one property damage accident. The numbers seem to have gone up, I would say, in the last 6 months for consistent activity. I think it has to do maybe with our ability to get to the calls and having better staffing. Detective Sergeant Cross successfully completed a 3-day arson investigation seminar in Syracuse. And we put out a call to the public for blankets for the kennel. And the community jumped in and delivered 5 bags of blankets and needed supplies. So it's saved us money and contributed to the dog kennel. We also participated in the December 6th annual Christmas parade, and was a success. Next, January, I'd like to have the early totals for 2025, and I can show what we did in 2025 and then again in 2024.
Thank you, Chief, appreciate it. I make a motion to accept the police department report for November of 2025.
I'll second.
We got a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Hey,
Motion carries.
Jason, before you go, hey, Chief, it has nothing to do with your report, but I had heard reports that you have thoughts or plans for a portion of this building to, utilize for the police department?
Yeah, so again, now that everyone has moved out of here, we wanted to commandeer that, not all of it, but a portion of that town clerk's office and the finance office to get most major functions that have people here during the day upstairs and out of the basement. So we're working on a deal to allow, and it will require renovations, alterations. And we're working on a plan to present. Well, it's not done yet, but when I do, I can share it with the board and go to you, get a permit.
It'll also have to clear OCA.
Well, for that,
If part of that plan is to use this as a public space to bring in, to make the public come in here and take complaints and or bring prisoners in here, you're gonna have to get OCA involved because of the proximity to the judge's chambers and this courtroom. So anything that you change when it comes to physical structure in here, you're gonna have to get OCA to approve it. For a security basis with respect to the court.
yeah, well, I know that with the safeguarding of the records, that they need the extra record space.
I'm just talking in general, where you're using this as a public door to walk through the court when the judges are in the offices here. Yeah, there's a whole process
So
with
here's
that.
the problem with not doing anything. That doorway is not ADA compliant.
I understand that, but again, there's gonna be a process where, we gotta be able to, allow the court and the police to work together, but there's gotta be rules with respect to OCA, and we don't wanna get ourselves into a jam with OCA, because if they come down here, they're gonna say no, and then we can't do a damn thing.
I think it's best practice probably to, when you figure out exactly what you want with certain spaces, obviously let us know, keep us informed, and then we
I know
can.
what you're talking about, Ron, because this is courtroom when it's court night. It's also town board meeting space and training. So it's a multi-purpose room.
Yeah. Turning this into potentially a place for booking, place for people to walk up and take complaints and do everything else. Now we're changing the parameters of what this building is now going to be doing with respect to its proximity to the courtroom. And I'm kind of playing in the middle right now. I understand I'm dancing a fine line right with this, but there are certain rules with respect that I think we have to make sure that we're following when we do this, and and involving not only your department, the staff that sit in this office here to be involved with whatever sits at this table after January 1. So before any decisions are made, plus knowing whether or not we have to make sure OCA engineers have to come down and take a look. Is this feasible? Is it gonna meet the security standards from
We
OCA?
do that immediately.
So,
We have a floor plan, and it's just a plan right now.
yeah, and I know it's a plan, but I don't wanna be caught, putting the cart before the horse and getting knee deep into something, and all of a sudden somebody says, stop.
Yeah, I just think communication is key, so we'll just keep communicating through email or in person, and we'll just see how it plays out. We don't want to violate anything for sure, I can understand that. But we have some space that we could use maybe
Yeah.
better, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Oh, I don't disagree, there's space here to be
Yeah.
used, but, make sure that we're doing it right.
Sure. Just keep us informed. I appreciate it. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, and like I said, the only reason I brought it up, Chief, was just because I had heard through the grapevine that there were some thoughts and, positioning that may take place, and I haven't heard anything about it, so I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit and kind of see like where you are in the process, so that,
Well,
it sounds like, you have a thought, you have a draft of a plan, and, just when you finalize it, just include us, that's all,
okay.
Thank you. Building Department, Jason, hi, how are you?
Good evening, everyone. Building Department report for November of 2025. Permits issued were 8. Certificates of occupancy or compliance were 4. We issued 2 operating permits. We had 1 fire incident. Fire inspections on a multi-dwelling was 1. Fire inspections on commercial buildings were 10. We had 3 building complaints. We had 30 building inspections. 4 permit renewals. Building fees for the month were $1,912.50. We had 4 property searches, and miscellaneous fees were $400.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept the Sewer Department report for November of 2025.
Building
I'm
permit.
sorry, Building Department report for 2025.
I'll second.
Thank you. Wait a second. Any discussion?
Jason, can you give me an update as to what has been going on with Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey's application for a building permit?
Yes, we sent a letter out Friday, and I could forward that to you if you'd like.
You said we, who's we?
My office worked with him on it
Oh,
to communicate it to the Dorsey's attorneys.
did you include the town board on that?
I don't recall.
I think we had sent a CC email, I believe, but I can double check.
Yeah, we can double check. It went out Friday, but we can double check that.
I would-
Certainly the intent.
Yeah, I would just ask that any business relating to town business, that the board be included on it, because, I did get an email today from Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey indicating that they were in receipt of a December 19th letter, and I had never seen it. So, in my position, I can't assist, answer questions, do any of that
Nope.
if I have no knowledge of what has transpired.
And as I think about it, I know we sent it to Ms. Grogan and Mr. Kennery. Maybe we inadvertently didn't include you guys, but that was, it was our intent, so we'll get it to you, absolutely.
I would appreciate that, thanks.
Thank you. Did we do all in favor? All in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. And now we're to the Sewer Department. Hello?
To the November 2025 report. I'm looking at today's thing. We had a total flow of 19,489,000 gallons come through the plant, average flow of 650,000 daily. We removed 33 tons of solids at 15.83%. Going to the landfill. 95 and 96 on the BOD and TSS. We had just a little over 2 inches of rain. And with our bills and stuff, accumulated $32,058.35. And so that's for that. I just want to fill you guys in on the generator problem. We had a problem with the generator as far as the radiator and stuff like that. Getting prices, got it, and finally got the radiator shipped. It was the wrong one, but at the same time that radiator landed at the guy, that's when the yoke that runs the fan on the radiator let go. And so that's because it's a 15-year-old machine, it's obsolete, you can't get them. So you guys have to know this, but just so you know, you guys okay to go forward to get a generator and stuff on standby? Keith, Gager, his company was able to get us a generator. It came in on Friday night about 5:30 from Hartford, Connecticut. They come down and they hooked it up, had it up and running by 8:30. The only bad thing about it is that I have to know that the power's out in order to go down and start the generator. So I had stopped and asked one of the residents down there because they live right there, if the lights flicker, please call me any time of day. I gave them my number, which I just talked to Stephanie today because Chief wasn't in when I was there. They asked the officers if they're down there and notice that there's no power or something like that to give me a call so that I can make sure that I can go down and if we need the generator running, I can get it running. So we have power.
To be corrected, so you don't have to worry about that in the future?
Well, this is only temporary,
This is the
right?
backup. This
This
is
is temporary, okay, I just want to
Right,
make sure.
and they just got a text message tonight, the generator will be here by the end of the week.
Oh, good.
So.
Knock on wood, you have a better weather week and,
And they'll have it in by the first of the year, I'm hoping, so we're doing really good that way. It's just everything seemed to fall in the right cards right for us, and everything seemed to roll out really good, so. Hopefully we won't need the backup generator, but it's there. But also when we were talking about the generator, I asked him, because he had to go through another box with leads and stuff like that, to get power. But when they hook up when we get the new one, I asked him if he could do something where, in case we had to have a portable generator come, we could just hook it up to have some kind of plug-ins on the generator. So in case this one ever fails, we can tie into it for future, you know. So he was gonna let us know when he got that far, what it would cost to add that on to the unit.
Okay.
Just so you know, so we are good there, we just have to know when the power goes out. But also so you know, we got the stuff for the leachate, the effluent box for that out there came, so that's there. Have not heard nothing about the lift stations, as far as Riverview, the panel box or anything like that. When I talked to him about a week ago, he said he doesn't know when they were shipping. It was coming to us anyway, so that's where we stand on that stuff. Other than that, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm right off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I think that it was perfect time, like you said, perfect timing for the generator. I mean, you don't want to see anything fail like that, but you know, they sent you the wrong part, and it wasn't like they put the new radiator on and then the yoke failed, and then it's like, oh, we just spent all that money for the radiator, and now the whole thing's kaput.
And if that goes, that could have damaged the radiator anyway. So
Right.
it could have been more damage.
Sure.
So, yes.
So you don't like spending, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, but it worked out for the best in the long run, I think, and hopefully this one lasts a long time.
Yes.
Great.
Any update with regards to the truck and the plow that was damaged?
No, I called Nimer, been on the phone with them, and just playing phone tag. Because they call me, they give me a name, I call the adjuster's, answering part is full. So I leave them, I left a message for some kind of like SOS thing or something they have on it, but I've never heard nothing back.
Okay.
But I keep hearing from the other people about setting up the appointment, so I called today again. They called while I was out, so I called them again, so we're just playing a little phone tag.
Okay.
Trying to get them to come up and look at it.
Did we get an estimate yet?
Yes, it was, I think just for the truck alone was like 3,100, 3,200. But like I said, the plow, the A-frame, because when I talked to Toads down in Carroll, we can get by the A-frame part for the plow that's bad for $1,000. So I was gonna take it apart and start ripping things apart, but I want the insurance adjuster to look at it first before I start anything. And so I haven't touched anything, so I can't tear that apart to get it fixed, you know, so I'm just waiting.
So you don't have to replace the whole plow, just the A-frame part?
Yeah, I'm thinking just the A-frame, because it's bent where the ram comes back.
Yeah.
Because it was in the air, and when it hit the guardrail, it ducked down, so it just bent that part of the A-frame, it just buckled it, kind of pinched it down like that.
Okay. That'd be great. Yeah.
So that's $1,000 in just our, you know, our time in putting it together. So I thought that was pretty decent, you know, as far as that goes, but we're still waiting on the truck. Still drivable, there's headlight works, everything, it's just cracked lens.
Right.
And stuff like that.
Thanks, Keith.
Yep.
I make a motion to accept the superintendent report for 2025, November.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. And Mr. Baker. Hello.
Just a couple tidbits. If you do renovate this, the thermostats and the HVAC is a little unbalanced. So I have Jim Rarick supposed to be working on that. Plus, if the chief takes over that office, you guys won't be able to use that office in there. All right, you probably already know that. Okay, and then the other part, while Keith's talking about generators, there is no generator at the new town hall. So you guys should put that in your budget for 2027. Budget about 150 grand. Because if power goes out down there, you guys are SOL. Okay. There is one at the sewer, there's one here, there's one at the highway. There's not one down there. Okay? Just thought you may wanna know that. So this is November 2025. Now, this town hall, like I said, the HVAC here is unbalanced and the thermostats are in the wrong areas. They need to be relocated, so working with Jimmy Rarick on that. Mountain Road Town Hall, nothing going on there. The new town hall, I sent an email out requesting exterior, interior door keys. Again, the chief, myself, the deputy, there's people that need keys. I usually come by at 5:30 in the morning and get my mail and drop off my vouchers. If we have an issue there at night, I don't even know who has the keys, supervisor?
I was told that there were 10 keys that were
Yeah.
handed out. So I assume Candace has one.
I'm in the building, yeah.
Yeah. So I assume everyone that's in the building currently has a key. I had mentioned to the supervisor again this past Thursday to contact you because you would have some information. He seemed very confused with the process and he wasn't sure if we had to have the actual cylinders removed and new cylinders put in place. So I had asked that he reach out to you.
I think he said the locksmith was coming last Friday. And he was going to ask the locksmith. I'm not sure if he ever came or not, or if there was a discussion, but.
Locksmith was in over the weekend, last weekend, I think.
Last weekend.
And even once you get in the front door, you need 2 more additional keys to get to your mailroom.
Yeah.
It's a 3-key process. And another thing you have to keep in mind too is when the weather's bad and the highway guys will come down early to salt the parking lot, the ice melt, which is not salt for the concrete, is inside the vestibule.
Mm-hmm.
Those doors are locked. They can't get to that, and you don't want rock salt on your concrete unless you want a new sidewalk.
Sure.
So there's a couple little hitches that need to be fixed.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a way the locksmith could make instead of a 3-key process, change it to a 1 or 2-key process.
Oh, they certainly can. They can change, make sure all the tumblers are all the same, absolutely. If I get a key, I'll just go to, I use Phillips in Albany, and they'll make me keys for anything.
Okay.
They're professional, they can do it, but just want you guys to know, like I said, we don't have any keys. Do you have any keys, sir? No. Yeah, we're waiting, so just so you guys know.
Yeah.
All right. Keep me posted on that. Moving to the garage, C11, it's a 2015 4x4 International. The dump body cylinder was leaking. We took it to Francisco's, they removed it, sent it to hydraulic shop, they repaired it, they put it back in, that's back up and running. C14, we had issues with the air tanks, so we chased them, we found them. We also changed the wing plow cutting edge on that truck. We installed the polycaster on one of the 450s, because again, this is November, so we were still doing, dump truck work. So that was the last truck that we had to outfit, so we did that, put the snowplow on. We also put our traction chains on the Volvo front end loader. That's the loader that I use if a guy runs off the road. You'll see me going up the road, bouncing up and down. That's our first source to get the truck out of the ditch. If a guy slides off the road, then we go to the tow trucks. So chains are on the loader. And then C4 is another older truck. The alternator, one of the batteries went kaput. So we replaced that as well, back up and running. We continued brush chipping a few times in November. People were still putting stuff out, so we were chipping that stuff up for them. Up on Old Ravena Road, we got a call from a resident. Part of the shoulder, part of the road is sliding down the bank. So we went up there and we installed a bunch of large rock. Then we covered it with small rock. So now if you run off the road, you don't go like 50 feet down into a ravine. We took care of that. We cleaned up some ditches on Limekiln and also Fuller Road. November 13th, we partnered with the village and the VFW. We took down the veterans banners and the flags. You'll see I gave you guys a little note there. We're gonna have to purchase new American flags. So they've been there since inception and they're pretty bad. I bought 10 of them last year. We're gonna have to, I'll probably get a price and we'll have to figure out how we're gonna pay for it. It's probably gonna be $4 or $5 grand, okay? Which I'm not budgeted for. We'll figure that out. We also did work down at the dog kennel, down at the sewer plant. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's some New York State guidelines for dog kennels. So Megan got a hold of me, the chief got a hold of me. We epoxied the floor where the kennel sits. We installed a sink. Roger Moran donated the sink. We had to purchase a faucet and some drain stuff. So myself and the deputy went down, we did that. We also had to put a soap dispenser, a paper towel holder on the wall. So all that's done. They were there this week or last week and did an inspection. I guess right now they're okay with the current situation of the kennel. She did call today. In the spring, we may have to take the outdoor kennel and move it to the back of the building and put a door in. I guess there was an angry dog there, maybe over the weekend. So they need some way for the dog to be able to go out of there into another kennel with some type of a door. So we may have to do that. Also, we may have to put in another kennel for sick dogs. Sick dogs have to be separated from healthy dogs. So we may have to do that as well. Okay, so that stuff's maybe in the future. And then we had two ice events in November. One was on Monday the 17th, crews were in Salting. And then another one on Saturday the 29th, Salton and Scrapen. Okay, the only two events for November. Moving on to the parks, both park bathrooms were shut down, as you guys are well aware, on November 12th. We did get a porta potty there for all of the winter events. That will be there from December to March. Okay. And then the cemetery, we had one cremation at Alcove on November 20th. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns?
I have a question. Who does Church Street? Do you do it or does the state?
No, I'm sorry, the state.
The state,
Yeah.
because there's an ice spot just before you get to the bottom, Main Street.
So I had a conversation with the state DOT guy today, because there's another issue from a resident up a little further on the hill. So they're gonna be down there, so I can let them, there's some funky stuff going on down there.
Yeah,
There's a box culvert there, there's water mains in there.
okay,
So I'll reach out to the people that know that stuff.
okay.
Okay. That's good?
We make a motion to accept the Highway Department report for November of 2025.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next is liaison report. Anybody have anything to report as far as a liaison?
No report from me.
Okay, we're all set. Old business. I think at the last meeting, we stated that we had received word from the PBZBA that they're ready to have a joint meeting with the town board regarding two of the things we were talking about previously in our town board meetings, which would be the transportation terminal redefinition and also to the site plan review resolution. So I had talked to Mr. Schmidt before this meeting and asked, hey, let's look at this week and get some dates. So him and I will talk. We'll share that with Mr. Donnelly and Ms. Grogan, since she'll be on the town board as of the 1st of January. And then once we get a date together that we can all make, we'll give that date or a couple dates to the Planning and Zoning Board, see if it works for them. And then hopefully sometime in mid to late January, we can have a joint meeting together about those topics. Anything else?
Not about that topic,
No?
no.
Okay. So that's old business. We're looking to get some dates and we'll get those to the Planning and Zoning Board as soon as we get them. Nothing for.
Hold on.
Yep.
Before we go forward, since Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey are here, and because it did come up under the building department that there was a December 19th letter sent, I just wanted to reiterate my request to the town board that, we really look at Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey's attorney's letter to us. I believe it was either at the end of October or beginning of November, where they brought to our attention that there were two definitions, or there were two terms within our code that are not defined. They had proposed language for us to consider to potentially add those definitions to our terms. And I know I've said this before, out here in public and in executive session, But I would just like to really take a look at that letter that their attorney sent to us and really talk about, those terms and whether we can define them in such a way that would, make this project kind of come together for all interested parties.
Right. And Michael and I have been taking a look at that. We've also been looking at whether there's sort of a new term that would make more sense, but along the same lines of, is there a definition that we could add, potentially address their proposed use, but also put in limitations so that you would have a comfort level that you wouldn't necessarily have a facility like that in all locations in the RA zone. And that if a facility like that was going in, it would be subject to site plan review and or special use permit approval.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So again, Mr. Hoteling, you're on your way out. I'm sorry to see that happen.
The town board, not
Why are
general.
you smiling?
But I would request that Mr. Stott and Mr. Donnelly, take a look at that, and maybe we can put together a workshop in January, if not January, early February, to potentially chat about that.
And it might be nice, and Michael and I can work on this, if we could come up with a definition that you collectively were comfortable with, to add that to the discussion that you're having with the planning board ZBA, just because you'll be meeting with them and also a lot of the issues relate to the RA zone. It might be helpful to get their input at that time too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Anything else for old business? Nope. Okay. I have nothing for new business. If nobody else has anything, we can go on to resolutions. Mr. Hoteling?
All right. I, Councilmember Hoteling, offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the town of Cleveland is required to establish sewer rates for 2026. Whereas a public hearing was duly advertised in the official newspaper of the town of Cleveland and was held on December 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at 18 Russell Avenue, Ravena, New York. And whereas all parties in attendance were granted the opportunity to be heard with regard to the proposed 2026 sewer rates. And whereas the town board of the town of Queens has determined the number of units to calculate the billing for operation, maintenance, and capital projects. And whereas the town board of the town of Queens has established a late payment of 10% to be imposed on all balances 30 days from the due date of the billing. And whereas each use is hereby charged as follows: per unit per year, $520.52. January, June payment, $260.26. July, December payment, $260.26. Commercial, number of units in the building. Apartments, 1 per apartment. Out-of-district users per unit per year. Vacant parcel, flat rate of $100 per year. Village of Ravena, $50,000 per month. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Queens does hereby authorize the town clerk to collect sewer rents for 2026 pursuant to the above established rates.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, or resolution passes. All right. I, Councilmember Stott, offering the following resolution, move its adoption. Whereas the town of Queens has established the Stonehouse Hill Road Sewer District Extension and is required to establish sewer rates for 2026 on these parcels. And whereas a public hearing was duly advertised in the official newspaper of the town of Queens and was held on December 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at 18 Russell Ave, Ravena, New York. And whereas all parties in attendance were granted the opportunity to be heard with regard to the proposed 2026 sewer rates. And whereas the town board of the town of Queens has determined the number of units to calculate the billing for operation, maintenance, and capital projects. And whereas the town board of the town of Queens has established a late payment of 10% to be imposed on all balances 30 days from the due date of the billing. And whereas each use is hereby charged as follows: per unit per year, $470. January to June payment, $235. July to December payment, $235. Commercial is number of units in building. Apartments, 1 per apartment. Out-of-district users, per unit per year. And vacant parcel, flat rate of $100 per year. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby authorize the town clerk to collect sewer rents for 2026 pursuant of the above established rates.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
I, Councilmember Schmidt, offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Chief Fiscal Officer of the Town of Queens has determined that in order to maintain proper balances within various accounts, an amendment to the 2025 budget is necessary. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to amend the 2025 budget as depicted below for the budget year 2025. Increase A 1990.4 contingency contractual by $26,872.23. Increase A 3020.4 communications tower contractual, $26,872.23.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So just for discussion purposes, we did receive a note from Regina Bryant. She indicated that we received $53,744.45 from Crown Tower, which is revenue contract. It's got to be split 50% with P&M Brick. This amendment will put money into the line A3020.4 in which the voucher to PayPal and Minnick will be paid from. And that leaves a balance for the 1990.4 contingency of $28,031.83.
No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
I, Councilmember Hoteling, offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Chief Fiscal Officer of the Town of Queens has determined that in order to maintain proper balances within various accounts, an amendment to the 2025 budget is necessary. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to amend the 2025 budget as depicted below for budget year 2025. Increase appropriations in B 9060.8 health and medical insurance by $4,249.37, and in B 9010.8 New York State retirement $1,903.05. Increase appropriated fund balance in B 0599 fund balance by $6,152.42.
I second that. Any discussion?
So the note that we got from Regina with regards to the fund balance for the B fund is $1.4 million. So there's plenty of money to transfer $6,152.42.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution passes. I, Councilmember Stott, offering the following resolution with its adoption, whereas the Chief Fiscal Officer of the Town of Queens has determined that in order to maintain proper balances within the various accounts, an amendment to the 2025 budget is necessary. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to amend the 2025 budget as depicted below for the budget year 2025. Increase appropriations from SS 9010.8 New York State retirement of $8,097.21 and SS 9720.74 bond interest on H39 of $3. An increase appropriated fund balance of SS 0599 fund balance to $8,121.
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion?
The SS fund balance is about $400,000. So there's plenty of money to make the transfer.
No other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution passes.
I, Councilmember Schmidt, offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Chief Fiscal Officer of the Town of Queens has determined that in order to maintain proper balances within various accounts, an interfund transfer is necessary. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to transfer the funds as depicted below for the budget year 2025. General Fund A, $818.84 will be taken from A 1310.4 Finance Contractual and will be placed into account A 1330.4 Tax Collection Contractual. $1,366.67 will be taken from account A 1310.1 Finance Personal to A 1355.4 Assessor Contractual. And $291.87 will be taken from A 1310.1 Finance Personal to A 3510.4 Control of Dogs Contractual.
Second.
Ron seconds. Any discussion?
Again, this is just cross-leveling negative balances. The current balance in A 13.4 is $1,668.59, and the balance in A 1310.1 is $16,505.46.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Councilmember Holt telling offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Chief Fiscal Officer of the Town of Clemens has determined that in order to maintain proper balances within various accounts and interfund transfers necessary, now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Clemens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to transfer the funds as depicted below for budget year 2025. General Fund A, transferring $509.95 from A 7110.1 Parks Personal to account A 8810.2 Cemetery Equipment and Capital. $10,818.90 from account A 9050.8 Unemployment to account A 9060.8 Hospital and Medical Insurance. $1,293.15 from account A 9050.8 Unemployment to A 1620.4 Town Hall Contractual. $15,000 from A 1640.4 Central Garage to A 1420.4 Attorney Contractual. $12,000 from A 1440.4 Engineering Contractual to A 1420.4 Attorney Contractual. $5,000 from A 1440.4 Engineering Contractual to A 1620.4 Town Hall Contractual. $5,000 from A 1670.4 Central Print to A 1620.4 Town Hall Contractual. And from the Highway DB Fund, $2,827 from account DB 1640.4 Central Garage Contractual to DB 5110.4 General Repairs Contractual. $1,787.94 from DB 1640.4 Central Garage Contractual to DB 9010.8 New York State Retirement, and $498.38 from DB 1640.4 Central Garage Contractual to DB 9070.8 Dental Insurance.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
So the note that we got from Regina is just that this will cross-level negative balances.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution passes. All right, Councilmember Stott offering the following resolution and moves adoption. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Clemens has approved the payment of bills as present in the abstract for December 2025 as follows. Prepaid vouchers 250017999 to 250011876 and A25-001 to A25-002 from the following funds. General, $309,502.90. Part-Town, $55,710.65. Highway Part-Town DB, $138,267.66. Sewer, $72,658.57. Trust and Agency, $54,536.15. And ACH deductions, $299,286. Voucher number 2500187 to 250018886 and 25001-888 to 25001-906 from the following funds. General, $87,083.87. Part-town, $2,001.85. Highway, part-town, DB, $19,936.31. Sewer, $21,056.15. And then H fund is $120,262.64 for a total of all funds of $1,180,302.75.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
So there are about 8 vouchers within the, not the prepaids, but within the regular vouchers, in which there are only 1 or 2 signatures approving the voucher itself. Now, I've reviewed all the prepaid vouchers, I've reviewed all the voucher numbers, I've reviewed the invoices and everything else, and they all seem status quo, accurate. I just, again, for the record, don't like the fact that Mr. Donnelly is rubber stamping, 1, his signature as the authorized department head, and 2, putting his rubber stamped initials as an auditor of the voucher. So I'm just gonna list the voucher numbers that, you know, are in question just based upon, for my point of view, the rubber stamp. Voucher number 25001-932, made payable to Maybes for $5,130. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped that, and Mr. Stott initialed that. Voucher number 25001-877 to the Albany County Department of Management and Budget, $30,213.18. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped it, Mr. Stott approved it. Voucher number 25001-878, Albany Times Union, $81.24. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped that. Voucher number 25001-879, Aline Galgay, $1,166.67. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped it. Mr. Stott approved it. Voucher number 2501885, Gleason Dunn Walsh and O'Shea, $9,412.17. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped it. Mr. Stott approved it. Voucher number 2501886, Gleason Dunn Walsh and O'Shea, $17,396.74. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped it. Mr. Stott approved it. Voucher number 2501889, William Horton, $150. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped it. Mr. Stott approved it. Voucher number 2501892, LaBerge Group, $1,599.30. Mr. Stott rubber stamped it. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped it. Mr. Stott approved it. And voucher number 2501893, LaBerge Group, $1,200. Mr. Donnelly rubber stamped it. Mr. Stott approved it. So I just wanted to note that for the record. Because I reviewed all of the vouchers and the prepays and there's invoices that accompanied them, I don't see any issues with the actual invoices. I'm not at this point willing to hold up the payment of bills. I will be okay with passing the resolution, but I wanted that noted for the record.
And we reached out to Mr. Riley.
Rubber stamp?
What's that?
He's using a rubber stamp instead of signing it?
Yeah, and this has been talked
How do we
about.
know he's rubber stamping it?
I don't know that he
Right.
himself is doing.
I think he should sign it.
And again, personal preference is one thing. He says it's locked and he's the only one that has access to it. He said he reached out to the comptroller's office and it's not illegal to use a rubber stamp. It's allowed. So whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but it's legal. And if they don't want to sign vouchers because rubber stamp, that's their prerogative. But let the record show that we reached out to Mr. Riley before the meeting and we said, is this okay? Is this valid? The fact that, you know, even though there's not 3 signatures, we still can pass a resolution and pay our bills.
And I think the most important thing is that the vouchers have been physically reviewed.
Yes, by everybody, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know that they were physically reviewed by Mr. Donnelly,
But
but
as to the 3 of you here,
yes,
which is a majority of the board, they have been physically.
they have been
Yes.
reviewed, and I reviewed them as well, but I have an issue with it's been ongoing for almost a year now with the same issue, and I figure I come down here for 1 or 2 hours to review the bills on one day. He's supposed to be here 160 hours a month. He can sign the bills with a pen.
Really?
Did you say there was only 2 signatures on the voucher?
Correct.
Then you can't approve that.
They've reviewed them. These 3 folks have all reviewed them.
I reviewed them,
they've
But
declined
we're gonna pass it by
some.
resolution.
Physically reviewed them.
Don't you need 3 signatures to approve the voucher?
They need 3 votes to approve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So only 2 signatures are allowed
No.
on the voucher,
This-
even though we
this-
have 5 people?
The signatures indicate who has audited them. The 3 board members present are stating that they have actually audited them. They've declined, in 2 instances to initial that, to that effect, but they've stated here at the meeting.
Yeah, I can attest to the fact that I reviewed them.
So the signatures make them approved to be paid. That's what the signatures.
No, the resolution is what,
Well, that's the second part of it. But if you read, it says approval by, right?
does it say approval by or does it say audited by?
I don't know, offhand.
I don't know.
Probably another reason we should continue to work on that whole voucher policy thing for the last 18 months that we haven't touched.
Correct.
Great. But as far as this meeting goes with this resolution, that the bills will get paid even though it doesn't have 3 signatures.
Yeah, and I think the best way to proceed is to, like Hannah said, to, revisit our voucher policy and come up with rules and regulations that should be followed.
So what would happen if only 1 person signed them?
I think you would have more of a chance that you wouldn't get 3 people up here saying.
You have to be able to show that, like, so I can say that I looked at all the vouchers,
Yeah.
Right.
page by page. I don't agree with some of them just because of procedure issues. I don't have an issue with the actual voucher itself or the invoice itself or the content that's in that, but I can attest to the fact that I audited those. I just don't approve of the process and the way that happened. So that's why I figured it would, in order to pay the bills, since there's only 3 of us, that I can make my thought process known, and I can state for the record that I did review each and every voucher.
So somebody can make a voucher for 400,000. If only 2 guys sign it and you 3 guys approve it, it's gonna get paid.
Well, that's how it would be in any other given circumstance. So if there was a voucher in there, right, that I didn't agree with the content, I would not be approving this resolution. So therefore, based upon this, those bills wouldn't get paid. They'd either have to get pulled out or all of these bills wouldn't get paid. But because I've reviewed them,
Right.
and I'm willing to say, I did review them and I don't disagree with any of the content within the vouchers itself, then I'm okay with passing the resolution.
And you 2 guys view them as well?
Oh, yeah, I was with Steve when I reviewed them.
I view them and sign them.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Upcoming meetings. There's dates to be approved, our organization, so we have to approve these at the organizational meeting on January 1st. That meeting will be at 3 p.m. Here. So January 1st, 2026, that's our town board organizational meeting at 3 p.m. We have to approve these, but I don't see why we wouldn't at the meeting. So January 8th of 2025, that's 2026. Yeah. Town board meeting at 6 p.m. January 12th, 2026, that's a PBZBA meeting at 7 p.m. On January 22nd of 2026, that's our second town board meeting of the month at 6 p.m. And then January 28th, 2026, that's the second PBZBA meeting at 7 p.m.
So just note, there has been some discussion about changing that January 12th PBZBA meeting to the 15th, right? So that hasn't been done yet, but just so that the public.
Right.
Yeah. So they're all TBD technically anyway.
Yes. Yeah. So that the 12th might be changed to January 15th for the PBZBA. We'd have to approve it if that's the case. Yeah. Anything else? Public comment time. Anybody want to get to the podium and speak for public comment?
Holidays, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Well, I sent you all a letter today, which we did receive a letter, and it was denied, or permit was denied, which we did not we requested a new permit. Instead of filing Article 78, we figured move forward. We're not requesting a change of occupancy. We went through this whole long process, planning board, zoning board of appeals, to get no document, there was no substantial evidence, there was nothing in support. All it was we agree and uphold the decision of the code enforcer. So we put in new applications for our barn, which already exists, was an equine hospital. It was a commercial facility. This already had people in it, already had not only did it was a full-time, everyday working business and a farm. So it was Oakencroft Farm and the equine hospital at Oakencroft. So many people that even still to this day, 3 years later that we bought it, we still have people come with their animals and try to have surgery, like in the middle of the night, all times of the day. We used to camp out in that barn for a year while we worked on the house. In the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, knock, knock, I'm here with my horse, right? This was a full-time thing. What we're proposing to do is we want to have a working farm and have our own personal property, my own private business. I'm not open to the public, so I don't feel that it's considered an assembly. Like when I looked that up, it's nightclubs, casinos, banquet halls. Now, if it's a banquet hall, that's the name of a room. I want to have a barn and a farm, and I can do many things. Just like you can do many things in this building, I can do many things in my barn. I want to host an event, I can have an event. I can have an event in my house. I can have a wedding in my house. I can have a wedding in a library. It's not just for weddings, it's for multi-purpose, whatever, right? So our permit was denied for windows, doors, siding, insulation, and roof, right? All those things are to a barn that already exists. So in your code, the town code states plainly that no building permit shall be required, means you don't need a building permit. For 71-4B7, painting, tiling, other similar finish work, replacement of equipment where the replacement does not alter original specifications, and repairs or that provide such that do not involve removal of load-bearing components, removal or change of required means of egress, enlargement, alteration, relocation of a building system, or removal of fire protections. We did not remove any load-bearing components. We did not change any egress. If anything, we made them bigger. We changed the window, we made it a door. We did do that. And previously, we thought we were under Ag and Marcus. We can work on a barn, on our farm. Didn't know it was an issue. But even still, regardless, take agritourism off the table. Take farming off the table. This is in your code regardless for any building or barn or structure. The buildings are lawfully exist. This is to my second thing to the letter that we received. The buildings are lawfully exist, already have prior certificates of compliance. The barns and structure that we're talking about were lawfully constructed and issued certificates of compliance years ago before we purchased the property in 2022. The town has never alleged that these structures were unlawfully built or unsafe at the time of construction. Routine maintenance and repair of a lawfully existing certified structure does not reopen or invalidate its approved status. The town may not retroactively treat an existing building as non-compliant simply because they disagree with its speculative future ideas about use. The third thing, as I said, with the equine hospital, property's long-standing, permitted commercial and educational use, and I have to tell you, I just don't get it. I pay taxes on this barn to this day, commercial taxes on this barn. It has not been used at all. It has had my tractors in it, and we've slept in it. I've had my dogs in here. I've had my horse in there. It has not been used commercially other than a barn on a farm, and I'm still paying commercial taxes because it was used, had a commercial use for the prior business that was there since the 80s. Okay, I don't want to read this whole letter, but
Read the whole letter.
What?
Read the whole letter.
Okay. So for decades, da-da-da-da-da. Okay. That use was permitted, regulated, and known to the town. Additionally, while you may not be aware, the prior owner of the property recently advised the town in support of our recent appeal before the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals, which I had all positive people there. I had not one negative complaint about anything we want to do. This is Father Lesser, who's a priest, doesn't lie, He used to routinely host large events, and he said over 100 people in the existing barn that's in question, where we'd have food. He said they'd make them soup and they'd have education. And they had a kitchen in this barn already. Or he had a kitchen, had a bathroom, had a shower. We slept there, had a shower. It had, you know, it was not just a barn, but it was a business. At no point did the town complain about unlawful assembly or preparation of food without the needs for permits from Albany County. Yet for some reason, this is now an issue. Against this historical backdrop, it is difficult to reconcile how replacement of windows, doors, siding, insulation, or roofing activities that plainly constitute maintenance can now be denied based on a theory such as work violates zoning or occupancy provisions. Okay, number 4. Classification certification cannot be determined by advertising of future intent. The letter that I received from the attorney, your letter relies heavily on references to a website, my social media posts, right? I was going to create a website with this girl, and she wanted me to take all pictures from Pinterest, and aren't even my pictures, right? And she was like, we're going to do a vision board. So what if I had done that? And you're like, there were pictures on that website that were not even my barn. This is early baby infancy. I'm pregnant. It's not existing yet. This is like I'm creating the process. My web designer, I cannot see this website unless it's live. So I haven't taken it down. I honestly haven't even touched it in over a year. So it is like a baby. It's not even a baby. I'm like, it's a pregnancy website, okay? So you're determining an occupancy for that. Now, under New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code is based on actual present use, not advertising language, aspirational concepts, or early stage data gathering efforts, which I was doing. Advertising does not constitute use, especially since suggested uses in such advertisements may never even come to fruition. I hope they do, but who knows, right? Intent does not convert a building's classification. No change of use has occurred. Critically, number 1, the barn is not open to the general public. Number 2, it's private property. I told Candace, my so smart 12-year-old son told me, Mama, I don't get this. This is our private property. What's the big deal? It's our barn. It's not like it's Walmart, you know? Okay, I lost my train of thought where I was. Private property. No public assembly is occurring. No Assembly A certification of occupancy has been requested or issued. The speculative uses you reference as supporting the denial of the applications are permitted as of right now under the Queens zoning law as either farming or recreational facility, a riding academy, a cultural facility. All those things are in the RA district. Despite your claims to the contrary, the Planning Board, Zoning Board never determined any uses contemplated by us were not permitted in the RA zoning district. That is factually not true. We never sought an interpretation from the ZBA on that issue. Our appeal was limited to an appeal of the original building permit denial this past summer. Moreover, the decision issued by the ZBA recently did not contain any findings or determinations concerning our proposed use. Actually, they said nothing. I mean, they said nothing. And there is, and I don't know what it is, but there's definitely a complete disconnect from like us to the planning board, the zoning board. Mike, Stephen, I appreciate you, and I feel like you're definitely advocating for me, and I really, truly, truly appreciate that because this has been very frustrating. Where am I? Okay. The structure cannot be considered classified an assembly if it is not open to the public. Private, invitation only, educational, cultural, or farm-related activities do not automatically trigger assembly classification, and they certainly do not do so prospectively. Number 5, the town's inability to inspect assertion is incorrect. Now, this is completely not true. Your letter suggests that inspections cannot be carried out because the walls are enclosed and that certain elements are no longer accessible. That statement is also not accurate. Every wall relevant to the work performed remains open and accessible for inspection. All wiring, insulation, related work is visible and available to be inspected. To the extent that the town contends otherwise, we respectfully dispute that characterization as factually incorrect. If the town wishes to conduct inspections, we are ready and willing to provide access immediately and coordinate a mutually convenient inspection time. 6, zoning and occupancy cannot be used to deny a permit exempt maintenance. Even if zoning occupancy questions were properly before the town, which they're not, because we put in a permit for windows, doors, insulation, siding, a roof, they cannot be used to deny or condition permit exempt maintenance under Chapter 71. That's your code. The permit applications submitted were not about future use. They were about maintenance. The town's determination improperly collapses maintenance, zoning, hypothetical future occupancy into a single denial, contrary to the town's own code established enforcement principles. 7, stop work order in good faith. This has been going on for a year. I don't know if everybody knows that. The original stop work order was a year ago. Took us a little while to get in a building permit because he wanted to see a plan. We don't have a plan, this building already exists, so I had somebody draw up a floor plan. That took a little while to get that. So by the time I actually got the building permit application done, it was June. And then by the time I got a denial, I got a denial right away. By the time I got uphold the denial, that was November. Now we're a year later. How long does this have to go on for? This is just, to me, ridiculous, right? Okay. So we were issued a stop work order and in good faith have not performed work on this barn for approximately almost been a year. Despite full compliance with that order, we remain unable to obtain approval or even clarity for basic maintenance such as windows, doors, siding, insulation, and roofing. This places us in an unattainable position where deterioration is effectively mandated by inaction, despite work falling squarely within the town's own maintenance exemptions. Additionally, as described above, the 5 items included in the building permit applications are clearly exempt from the need of a building permit. As a result, the stop work order was inappropriately issued by the building inspector. The building inspector did not have the authority or jurisdiction to attempt to order the work that was completed and which remains installation of sheetrock that's finishing to be completed. Now, we thought you just need a fee. They wanted some money for a fee. We'll fill out an application, whatever, we'll be compliant. So we're willing. 8, willingness to submit a building permit application if required. In the interest of cooperation and resolution, and without waiving our position that the work was permit exempt, we are willing to submit or supplement building permit application to the town that the town insists that such a permit is required. The application is already in the town system, and we are prepared to complete any reasonable administrative steps necessary. However, it bears emphasis that even this willingness has not resulted in approval or a movement forward, reinforcing our concern that the denial is truly not about the form of the application, but about issues unrelated to maintenance. Number 9, outdated code and lack of viable path forward. This one, finally, we note that the town's building zoning framework has not been, Mr. Schmidt, you stated, meaningfully updated since 1961. That's older than me. More than 65, way older, not that much older, but 65 years. That's a long time. Respectfully, it is difficult to understand how property owners can be held to evolving standards of compliance when the governing code itself has not evolved. At the same time, the town comprehensive plan, the economic development plan expressly identify agriculture, agritourism, related economic activity as desired outcomes. Yet there's no clear workable pathway within the town's regulatory structure to reach those goals. To be clear, our future is not before the town at this time. It was not the subject of our permit application. Our request remains to be limited to the ability to maintain a lawful existing structure. So number 10, we're requesting reconsideration and clarification. In light of foregoing, we respect acknowledgement that the work described falls within the permitted exemption set forth in 71-4B. Confirm that no building permit is required to the completed maintenance work, or alternatively process the existing application solely as maintenance permit without the reference of a future work. I mean, this could take you a long time to figure out a definition. Every permit is a long time. Still have one for transfer terminal. This could take a long time. I just want a permit, move forward. That's all I'm asking for right now. We remain willing to cooperate in good faith, but we cannot accept the denial of a routine maintenance on a lawfully existing structure based on assumptions that are not supported by the town codes or facts. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate everybody here. I really don't want to be a constant thorn in your side. I want to use my property, which I purchased, my property, right? You should have the right to do what you want on your property. I am not affecting anybody in Queens. First 20 acres is Bethlehem. You can't even, it's landlocked. My zoning goes right through a barn. And it's not just that I have 2 code enforcers now, but now I literally have, it's zoned separately. Bethlehem, I'm zoned rural. I'm not zoned RA. And then they update their zoning every couple of years. And now I'm gonna be rural mixed use, which is even better, right? It's even better for me because if I could pick that building up and move it 100 feet, I would do that and be completely fine. But I don't know if I can do that. I mean, I can put up a tent, I can have a wedding, I can do whatever I want. On my Bethlehem, they don't have a problem. It's not an issue. I actually have someone come in on New Year's Eve, and if you see a picture of it, I'm not doing anything unlawful. You can have a ceremony. They came to me free. You can absolutely have a ceremony. They just want to go somewhere beautiful. It's a beautiful property. People come to my property in the fall and they do photo shoots in my driveway. It's the perfect spot to share. I'm sorry, I'm done. There you go.
So am I dealing with you now or the code enforcement officer? Because the letter we got from you was on your letterhead. So I'm just trying to get a permit to move forward.
Yep.
Right, so for a window, I want to put a new window in.
Yeah.
Actually, it's already done. Because I didn't think you need a permit. In our town, we don't need permits for that stuff.
Right.
So I went today to the architect to ask to get blueprints to have windows put in. He said, Mark, you're wasting your money. We never ever give a set of prints that are stamped to put windows in it. That's not a thing.
So
So based on speculation, again, I might want to have a rocket in the backyard someday.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I always wanted a Lamborghini, but my premiums don't go up
Right.
until I get one. So I don't know how to move forward with you guys. It's very hard.
So we did outline in our letter that we sent out Friday, our,
We got it.
I'm just sort of.
I haven't seen it.
updating the town board. They have not, and I apologize for that, so we will forward that to you. I did discuss with Jason earlier today. He had received Dorsey's communication as well about him creating what's called sort of an order of remedy, but it would essentially provide a roadmap of what, from his perspective, they would need to address for him to be able to issue a building permit.
His perspective's skewed though. Right? It's skewed because he's hung up around a venue. Right? This is just asking for
So
general permits.
Longer term, and I don't necessarily want to engage in a significant back and forth. But
No, of course.
I would just note that literally the day after the building permits were submitted, there was an update to the Facebook page that continued to talk about advertising the site for a wedding venue. And so we're not like,
I advertise for agritourism. I'm literally going to Cobblestone College and learning how to do.
I really don't want to sort of engage in a back and forth, but from our perspective, we're seeing that. We can't, and Jason can't make a determination in a vacuum when the zoning code talks about building permits in the context of an impermitted use.
But with regards to their current building permit application, I mean, again, at my house, you know, I'm in an RA district, I have a garage, you know, if I want to replace the windows or the siding or the roof or the insulation, I don't come down to Jason and file a building permit application.
So we have asked him for clarification on that, and if there are particular details in terms of, it sort of sounds overly technical in terms of an order of remedy, but that he would be able to provide to them.
And regardless of their use, they should be able to today, tomorrow, yesterday, last week, do their window, siding, roof, and insulation, regardless of the venue.
I don't know that's.
You need a building permit to change the roof in town of Queens.
To change the roof?
Yes.
And for better or for worse.
To get a permit.
I don't know that.
I'll give you the fee. I'll give you the permits, right?
I didn't know that they were changing the roof.
Well, if you want to replace the shingles, you need a permit.
I've never seen
I've
that.
never gotten a permit.
We'll get a permit.
Yeah.
It's already
No,
done.
you filed an
It's
application.
already done.
My concern.
5 applications for permit, right? Windows, doors, insulation, roof, and siding, right? 5 permits of application.
Yeah.
Article 65 states you have 10 days to either accept or deny
From the,
It
from
took
the,
30 days.
from the date of the determination.
It took 30 days
Yeah, I don't know that that's
to the code.
I don't know that you're precisely accurately characterizing what the code says, but again, I don't really want to.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the information, but I think, without, Jason here, without Mr. Kinnery here, who's the lawyer for the PBZBA, I just don't want this to get into a situation where we're questioning Mr. Riley, who is just here alone without Mr., Shimoletsky or Mr. Kinnery.
So he must be an expert.
Yeah, but we haven't had a chance to look at it yet, so just you two going back and forth isn't gonna be productive, because we haven't seen the letter yet, so.
And I received your letter today, and I'm happy to take a look at that, and we'll put together a response, and we'll work with Jason. If we can provide clarity and we can get you to the finish line, I'm happy to see that happen. But at the end of the day, there's a code. The planning board ZBA has made certain determinations. Mr. Kennery has opinions on that. Jason has made determinations. We're trying to articulate the position of the town based on those determinations that have been made. Longer term, and I don't think it's as long term as Ms. Dorsey may fear it might be, I think a lot of this can be resolved if there is a discussion about the possibility of a new defined term within the RA zone that addresses uses that may be speculative or at least that have been talked about. I think that will allay some of the concerns that have maybe led informed to us being here.
We would love to invite you guys down to see what's there, because Jason's saying he can't inspect anything, but every wall's open.
My concern, and I'm just gonna say this for the record, is that I feel like a part of this is retaliatory against Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey because of the fact that they didn't come in for a building permit application from the forefront. And I understand that. I understand that, there's a process and the process needs to be followed. However, we as a town should be welcoming, businesses and people like Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey that, purchase property that ultimately end up in the town of Queens. And, there shouldn't be this conflict. And if there is an initial conflict because Jason has a role that he has to do for the town of Queens and he has to protect the town of Queens, we have to somehow set aside those differences and figure out the best path forward for both the town and.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's in part why Mr. Kinnery and I are trying to be involved. I mean, my advice to the town will never be to be retaliatory.
No, I'm not saying it was.
And I'm not,
I just think,
but if we can get them to the finish line.
For windows and doors?
I will say that this
There's
whole
been a
thing is like
process.
literally making me age. I feel like I'm getting gray hair,
Okay.
and it's stressful. This is my
imagine.
family.
When I talked to the Department of State,
This is
who's
my
in charge of
home.
the uniform code, he said there's no reason why it should take a year to get a permit for a window or a door, or insulation or siding, or a new roof. If my roof was leaking last year and I wanted to put a new roof on, I would be ruining my property, right? I can't protect my own investment.
Again, I don't want to engage.
You're
in back
hampering
and
me
forth.
for protecting my investment, sir.
But the suggestion that there's been an application for a permit pending for a year is simply not.
Is the permit was.
That's the first permit. That's the first one I put
Stop
in,
work order was last year.
right? It wasn't for a change of use. That's his, it says for official use only. He changed that, not me. My initial permit last year was for windows, doors, insulation, and siding.
There's quite a history here. And,
Yeah.
we can pass that along to you. We'd be happy to do so.
Yeah.
I think there's different perspectives on that history. I'd welcome Jason to, report to you his. The Dorseys have one viewpoint. I think there's a number of different town representatives, both within the building department and on behalf of the Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, who don't agree with that characterization. But I'm happy to, anything we can do to get us to the finish line, we're happy to work with you on. Yeah.
Now, I think the best thing to do right now is, again, if we can work on maybe a definition, like we mentioned.
Time.
What's
It's been a year, I don't have time. Right? My property is open, right? Because I want to put windows and doors and siding on it. Let's put some new siding on. That's my investment.
Sure.
Mr. Dorsey, I can totally empathize with you, but again, we're trying to move as fast as we can, and you know how it is too. I
We
mean,
sent an email and a letter to you guys last month asking for some kind of direction.
and we are
It's
doing
over
our
a month
best
now.
to.
That was over a month, right? Again, time. It seems like just this board here and the ZBA board, they don't care less about anybody, right? If there is an axe to grind, let's get it out. Let's get it out in the open, right? Because I keep hearing from Jason telling other people that there's violations. it takes a year to give a violation to somebody, we'll deal with it. Let us know what it is, sir. Right? By no means am I building something on my property that I want to have a problem with.
Mr. Dorsey, I think let us get the letter that was sent out on the 19th that we didn't get yet, so we can read it and see.
We have a copy
Well,
right
we don't have time right now to read it.
Yeah.
But we can read it, digest it, and like I said, we're hopefully within the next few weeks, we're gonna have a meeting, a joint meeting with the PBZBA. Maybe by that time, the town board can get a definition created and then pose it to the PBZBA to get their take on it, and that could be part of that workshop as well. But I think it's a good solution. It might not be like happening tomorrow, but I think that's a good solution. It's a way forward.
Regardless of future use, why can't you get a permit
For windows and doors.
Door siding installation? We're asking for a permit, we're asking to come
Right.
inspect it. Regardless of future use.
Mr. Lucan's got a permit for his, put addition on the side of his barns, exact same barns as ours, Morton barns.
That's
considered ag barns, but for some reason ours keeps getting terminated, or the terminology used is commercial or it's venue. It's a Morton building, the same as Lucan's, horse stables, right? We're a horse farm, they're a horse farm. He got his permit and he was able to do his work.
Yeah.
I'm putting the same applications in and I can't do my work. I can't protect my property.
We'll share that, the Lukens versus yours with Jason, and we'll pose it to him and see what he says.
Right.
But again, we can keep talking back and forth here, but we're just a town board. There's a lot going on with the PBZBA between the lawyers. There's a letter we haven't seen yet. I just think we need to get all the information, and I don't think going back and forth right now.
We've handed it in many times. I go to the building department, he won't even talk to me, right? He has no answers. Well, you gotta talk to the attorney, and your attorney. Well, my attorney's saying we can't get a hold of this guy, right? I mean, I don't know if you should do this. I kind of do this for a living in my town, right? All the time, at a very high level. And never once, and I talked to the building inspector today, have we denied a permit for windows, doors, insulation, or side doors, or a roof, right? Protect somebody's property. I don't know how, I mean, if we're gonna talk about issuing a permit to the Dorseys for windows, doors, insulation, again, we're not buildings already exist. So by having you do your definition, talk, and digest all this, we're talking probably 3 months, right?
I want an explanation from the building inspector why you've been denied for windows, doors, siding, insulation,
And it is inspectable, that is not.
The whole thing's inspected.
No, I have not seen the site. I mean,
So why you come down, I'm inviting you down. I'll buy a cup of coffee, you can have lunch up with us.
I can't be there without your attorney.
Huh?
I can't be there without your attorney.
Should I
and I
fire my
don't.
attorney and just take it out for myself?
No, I just.
We'll have an attorney, we have a few attorneys, so as long as our attorney's there, tell me what day you can. I'll pick you up.
I'll have a discussion with you. Yeah.
But again,
and Mr. Schmidt, listen, I agree. If you want to send out an email to Jason tomorrow, ask the questions, include us all on it, so he can respond to all of us, so we can hear the response to those questions, and we can just get more information from that perspective.
And I think he is working on that based on my discussion. So we can send you the letter that we sent out Friday, but he is also working on a specific checklist of what would be required to be able to move forward on the permit issue, setting aside the larger question of.
we're not talking about use at this point. We're really talking about him.
Yes and no. I think specifically we need that checklist. Your zoning does talk about the inability of the building department to issue a building permit for a use that's not permitted. I mean, that's what the code says. And so.
But the use has nothing to do with windows, doors, siding,
I'm
insulation.
just telling you what.
That has nothing to do with it.
I'm just telling you.
That's a conversation for Jason.
If ultimately Mr. and Mrs. Dorsey proceed above and beyond the windows, doors, siding, insulation into something else, then that's another question down the road, right? I mean.
Yes, I'm just telling you what you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No,
Mr. Riley's not the person to be asking these questions to. It'd be really Jason, right? I mean.
Well, he's speaking for
well,
Jason.
Jason knows. That's the problem. The problem we're at is I don't know that Jason knows. Jason doesn't know clearly, otherwise.
Jason's telling the counselor here that our building can't be inspected because all the walls are closed up. That is a blatant lie.
He was there.
That is a blatant lie. All of our windows, everything's open, it's all framed, ready for inspection for him. Okay, so he's writing a letter based upon what Jason's telling him, which is incorrect.
Well,
Totally incorrect. Okay, which is hampering us, Scott. Protect my investment. You don't think you're realizing this, are you? I'm asking to get permits for application for windows, doors, and insulation, and a roof. Nothing to do with a wedding venue, with anything else on the road. Right? I may go home tonight and go online and become a minister. Now I'm a church. Can I be a church on my property?
There you go.
Right? I mean, you know,
Can he have the other
we're
inspector
speculating
come?
on stuff that's not even I'm not even asking for.
Yeah.
Right? I'm asking for a permit on face value. Doors, windows, insulation, and a roof.
Let me, again, I think, since you're,
This is something you have to think about and look over and figure out. It's
oh, I
not that
agree.
hard. This is very simple. Right? The buildings already exist.
You'll reach out to Jason?
I will,
Okay, I appreciate it.
and I'll let everybody know.
I wish I had more
what it
answers.
I know, but keep hearing that.
Since he brought it up, I'm gonna bring up something too.
Okay,
My son went through the same thing, Jason. All
okay.
right? You know what happened to my son? It was a town board's fault that he lost everything. All right? He wanted to put a shed on the new property that he could put his tools in. Jason wouldn't let him. He's not very accommodating. This is welcome to the town of Queens.
Well, we hear this all the
Really?
time from people. Trust me.
He's very hard on people. He's not very welcoming.
Well, again, and Jason's not here to defend himself, so I don't want it to bash one person or the other. But, I just think he has a job to do. And, if he can back up what he says by town code and reasoning, and it's approved by our attorneys, that's one thing. But you're right, if something happens where he's doing something and, it's not following town code or not following the steps that are necessary, that's another thing.
I agree with that.
But he's,
But don't pick on one person.
And-
If you're gonna do that, you go around, everybody that's changing their doors or their windows, they have to get a permit, not just these people. I think there's a vendetta, I'm sorry.
thank you, Ms. Tanner.
I just want to clarify on the permit. We had to get a permit for this building to change the heater and the air conditioning from Jason. So I said, it's in the village.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are aware, but I said, it's in the village of Ravena. He said, it doesn't matter. I said, it's a municipal building. He said, no, it's not. It's a business office. I said, okay, so I checked with
Municipal
Mr.
building.
Burns. And Mr. Burns said, you do need a permit to change your roof shingles because they don't want the homeowner to bury them in their property. So they want to make sure that they're being done right, so that if it rains or snows, the rain and water doesn't come in and ruin your house. Because if you put in an insurance claim and you have no building permit, insurance will not cover it. All right, so that is true, you do need that. Just because they haven't enforced it, doesn't mean it's not there. That is a law in the code. Same with the heater in the basement here. It was an emergency, and he said it's in the National Safety Fire Fuel Code that if you're changing a heater, it's gotta have a building permit. So he stopped Mr. Eric, and they don't know anything about gas furnaces, but I had to get a permit. So it was me, the town of Queens, getting a permit for the town of Queens. So it was kinda odd, but we did have to get a permit to change the heater and AC here, so. All right, just for.
Thank you, Dan.
Your codes, I don't get that, because the code, I looked it up. It says 71.4B states you do not need a building permit, is not required for painting, tiling, other finishing work, replacement of equipment. I would think that heating systems and equipment, replacing of equipment where the replacement does not alter the original specification. So if you're replacing your heating system with a new heating system, I don't agree with that. That's in your code too. I printed this out right from your code. So I don't know, maybe they need to go, they should go over the building code too maybe, as well as building code, because it's contradictory. It says, you don't need for repairs that do not involve removal of load-bearing components, removal of the change of required means of egress, enlargement, alteration, relocation of building systems, or removal of fire protection systems. You don't need a permit. Your code says in Town Code of Queens 71.4B, you do not need a building permit if you're doing repairs and maintenance and you're not removing a load-bearing component, right? You're not removing your fire extinguishing, whatever. You're gonna replace all your sprinklers, you need a building permit. To change a window, I don't think that's correct. I disagree.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
Oh, no, you can go first, I'll go last.
I'll say nothing. How you doing tonight? I know you guys are done with phase one for the building, and I guess it looks pretty good from what I went in there. So I was just wondering, phase two, is that going to include the court and the police department?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you know what's going to be involved in that? I mean, specifically with.
I brought that up at the last meeting. I said, now that phase one is fully completed pretty much and people are moved in. Phase two is the police and the court. And I said we should probably look into very shortly getting engineering report, feasibility study on, what we want to do next with that property as far as moving and building something for the police and for the court and for a town meeting room as well. So again, we deal with the police and the courts. They have very specific rules and regulations and building specifications. So I think we were just trying to figure out what was our vision. Is it one building? Is it two separate buildings? Where are they located on that property? And once we get that, then we can hire MJ, LaBerge, any other engineering firm to sort of draw it up and tell us, if you want this plan, this is what it's going to be like, and this is how much it's going to cost you. So we can sort of digest that and see if that's the route we want to take or not. Because we could have these great ideas, and all of a sudden now it's a huge cost to the town that we weren't expecting, and either we got to dial it back a little bit, or we have to have plan B. So really, that was what I posed at the last meeting earlier in December was, what's your vision? And once we can all get on the same page with what the vision is, we have to hire somebody to sort of tell us what that looks like and how much it's going to cost you.
It's going to be very costly.
Yeah.
You're going to need blast reinforced concrete.
Yeah.
At least 12 inches on the wall. It's going to be at least 12 inches thick.
Yeah.
Probably 6 inches or not more on the slab. And on the police, earthquake, steel reinforcement all the way around it. You're talking millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I can only tell you what I learned recently is that this village of Stillwater or town of Stillwater just built a brand new combined police department, court, and EMS building in one building, which is three things. I suppose we're looking for two things, and that building was $5 million.
Do you know how big it was, Ron? How square footage wise?
Big enough to hold three apartments.
Yeah.
So that was $5 million.
Yeah.
And that was, when was it?
That was that what they just built.
Stillwater.
That was in Stillwater.
All right.
Yeah.
And so
That was for, and again, that was police, EMS, and the court under one building.
But that's at the battle too. I think we have to decide what we're comfortable as a town board to spend, and then we have to create something for that money, right? I mean, we can have an idea and come back at $6 million, and I would say that's too much. And then we have to look back and say, what can we fix here? How can we rearrange it, whether it's the size or the usage of it, and get to a number that we're comfortable with.
and it depends when you get the shovel in the ground too.
Sure. Yeah.
Because if it doesn't happen this year, the cost is just going to get higher.
I'd like to
You're
find
gonna
out
have a
more
bond.
too. See how
You
big
have
it
to-
is.
Yeah.
The bond has to go out.
Yeah.
Before all that, there's meetings, and
Yeah.
when the bond goes out, if it doesn't pass like the last time,
Yeah.
then you're going to have a plan B.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Yeah, it's in the infancy stages, but it's something on the radar that we need to figure out sort of quickly.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to get it started.
Yeah, I mean, we have to come up with a budget, first and foremost. And then, we have to loop in OCA before we get too far down the road, because OCA is gonna have rules and regulations that we're gonna have to follow.
Right. And like I said before, like whether those two buildings are combined, whether it's more legally beneficial and cost effective to keep them separate, maybe by like an open archway or something. I mean, the sky's the limit of what we could do, but whatever's cost effective and compliant is probably the best route. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
On March 4th, 2025, I made you aware of a clerical error in Resolution 034-25, which lists the pay rate of all town employees. The hourly pay of my deputy was listed $1 higher than it was supposed to be. I did verify her actual paycheck was being processed at the correct rate and not at the rate reflected on the resolution that was placed on public record. I suggested either actually raising her pay to the rate on public record or amending the resolution and paying her retro for the 3 months of error. After a few emails and conversations with the town attorney, nothing was remedied. During budget preparation, I requested a $2 per hour raise for my deputy, which was denied. She received the $1 that everyone else gets. During the budget meeting on September 15th, 2025, I asked for it to be reconsidered. At this time, the initial error had not been corrected and still hasn't. It was suggested I reach out to legal again. I had already had conversations about this in March and April with legal with no remedy that was given. I brought it up at least 2 more times at meetings since then, and I feel as though everyone on the board acts as if it's the first time I've ever mentioned it when I do mention it. I'm frustrated with how non-reactive this board is to the situation. A few of you even stated that you would be calling me tomorrow with an answer. I haven't received that phone call yet, but a lot of tomorrows have passed. I understand you may feel that there are far more pressing matters to take care of, but I feel the need to remind you that our employees should be a much higher priority on your list. We are elected officials that can't do our jobs without them, and they are the ones that typically do the work that makes us look good as elected officials. I am requesting once again for a $2 raise for my deputy to be considered for the organizational meeting to be held on January 1st, 2026 at 3 p.m. I understand the budget is adopted, but that certainly doesn't mean it can't be changed. In case you're wondering where this extra $1,820 could be taken from, may I suggest supervisor line A1220.1. This is a line that has a total of $124,976 allocated to it at this time. After the deduction of the supervisor's pay and his assistants, there will be $19,148.38 left in that line. This money is reserved for floater employees who fill out vacations or step in when extra help is needed. Tax season, I use a floater to help me with the mail volume, things of that sort. For 2025, we had $16,382.46 available for floater pay. As of today, December 22nd, 2025, we have used less than $1,000 in floater pay for the year. The current amount of money set aside for our floaters in 2026 could cover 947 hours of floater time at a rate of $20.20 per hour. By removing $1,820 from this line, you're knocking it down to 857 hours, which is more than adequate for the town's needs for floaters. I respectfully request $1,820 of line A1220.1 be moved to A1410.1 for my deputy, Cheryl Slingerland, to get a $2 raise for 2026. She more than deserves it considering the lack of effort and communication that has been put forth to fix this small clerical error. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
What does the board say about this?
I don't know, maybe Mr. Riley can answer this, but when it comes to like a personnel thing and pay, is that more of an executive session discussion?
Have you bothered having an executive session about it the first 4 or 5 times I mentioned it?
Yeah, to the extent an individual is being discussed, there are components of it that you may want to discuss in an executive session. In terms of, say, a clerical error that was made generally, I'll certainly go back and take a look at my notes. I certainly apologize if there's something that I did not follow up on that I should have, but I can go back and take a look at that.
This is just further reinforcing Mr. Dorsey's comment about lack of communication and follow through. That's my opinion.
And I could be mistaken, it was a couple months ago, Ms. McHugh, but I remember an email sent out by you to everybody, and I think I responded with my opinion, and I said, yeah, I think it's a clerical error. I think everybody else during the budget process got the $1 raise. For some reason, it said $2 for Ms. Lernerwin. I think she should receive the $1. It was a clerical error. It happens. And I believe I said on the email, if you think that the town board should have a resolution to remedy this, that's fine. Just let me know if that's what you want. And I don't think I heard anything back. I mean, again, and I don't remember quite fully because
You did respond to the email that I sent in March.
Okay.
You did, and Councilmember Bruno did. And yes, it was a clerical error. And if you took care of it then, and if you had fixed the resolution, it's not my determination how you fix it, but I do know that if you make a mistake in your numbers, you need to fix it.
Yeah.
You have not bothered to. You have been reminded of this several times. And to me, it's almost a slap in the face to my deputy that you're not being considerate enough to fix the error. And at this point, you're just waving it away. To me, I think it's kind of disrespectful. Every single time it's brought up, it said, well, we should probably amend the resolution. I think Mr. Laraway even mentioned, why don't we just do it on the floor the other day? Nobody does anything. So once again, we have a problem, and it's not being followed through and completely fixed. This is happening with vouchers. This is happening with your mileage policy. This is happening with your ACH payments, which I see in here, which we've never approved. This is happening with building permits. It's happening with a lot of things. There's no communication to fully finish errors that are there or to make decisions. It's difficult and it's very frustrating to work in that environment when I can't depend on someone who should be able to give me an answer and follow through to do so. It's not HR's responsibility to fix this. It's the board's responsibility to say, hey, we made an error. We should have fixed the resolution. You didn't. It keeps getting swept under the rug. And it's at this point, I think you've turned a mountain or a molehill into a huge mountain. It could have been something very small that you could have fixed. And by letting it go and go and go, I'm frustrated and offended. I'm sure my deputy is. And I just consider it disrespectful for you to treat your employees like this. I mean, there's a severe morale issue within town staff. Nobody can deny that. And no one is working to fix that problem. And it's part of the reason is no one is finding solutions to anything. So it leads to a very toxic work environment, and it's getting hard to deal with. And at this point, it's been almost 365 days since you made that error, and no one has bothered to fix it. And every time I do mention it, you all look at me like, when did this happen? I'm telling you, this is about the 5th time I brought it up. Okay? That's why I'm frustrated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Riley, and I don't remember the conversation a couple months ago, but I thought it was, we sort of agreed like, hey, you could do a resolution, but it's not necessary. Am I remember that correctly, or does it need to be resolved through a resolution?
I don't think it specifically needs to be resolved through a resolution, but if that's what the board wants to do, then we can certainly prepare that resolution for you.
Yeah.
I would just like you to resolve something instead of ignoring it, which is what you're doing for a year.
Well, I have no problem, resolving it through resolution. That's fine with me.
I don't really feel like resolution is enough at this point. I think she's kind of been tortured for the year, and she should be given a $2 raise for next year, considering that no one has taken the time to fix the situation for her in over a year. I mean, how would you feel about that? How many times do you have to bring up that they're getting paid incorrectly? Or not even incorrectly, I mean, she's getting paid properly, but you made an error and said she made more on a public record, on a public document. And to this day, everyone doesn't think it's that big of a deal. I understand clerical errors happen. I do it all the time. We got 2025 in our agendas. It happens. But you fix them. And you are not fixing things. And when you leave things to die like this, it creates a bigger problem. And I think that's a bigger problem that you're going to have because this could be brought to the Department of Labor. And while you're at it, you also have your supervisor pay listed at $46,000. You pay him $45,000. So you might want to fix that on your budget as well so you don't have the same problem again. And you never fixed it last year when he denied his $1,000 raise and it still said 46. These are things, these are numbers, these are important numbers. These are people's bills. You need to pay them properly. You need to have your numbers done properly on your budget. They're not. You're not checking them. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? No? I think, do you gentlemen have anything else?
Not from me.
No? No? Okay. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.